Hi, I'm Chris, and in this video we're going through question 8 from section 2 from the January 2015 SAT exam. So in this question, they ask about each person's share if X squared people rent the cabin. So let's see what they're talking about. You can read through the full word problem if you're following along in your own test booklet, but just to give you a brief synopsis here, it's a group of people renting a cabin. X represents the number of people renting the cabin. Y represents each person's share of the cost of the cabin. And then the question that they're asking us is, okay, instead of just X people, what if we had X squared people renting the cabin? Then what would each person's cost in dollars be? What would each person's share be that they have to contribute to that cabin rental? And they give us answer choices here in terms of X and Y. So there are several ways to do this problem. You can certainly do it algebraically, but the Sanderson test prep method that we're going to work on here is using picking numbers, and an acronym that I like to use for that is PAM, which stands for Pick, Answer, Match. And if we use PAM on this question, if you're a current student, I'm sure you've heard of PAM before because I talk about it all the time. But if you're new to this process, the way that it works, you're going to start picking values for the variables in the question. And the key here, there's a little bit of an art form to it. You do want to try to pick numbers that will work well together. So for example, let's see here if we pick values for X and Y, some numbers that might work well together. Let's say you have 10 people renting the cabin, and let's say the value for Y for each person's share of the cost, what each person is going to contribute to the cost is, let's say each person for the weekend at the cabin is putting in, let's say $20. So each person shares $20. For 10 people, that means your total cost of the cabin is $200. So not bad for renting a cabin with some friends for the weekend. Seems like a pretty good deal. All right. So we've got 10 people paying 20 bucks each to rent the cabin. Now, we're going to answer the question being asked, and here's the nice part about the picking numbers process. When you use PAM, you're going to come up with a numerical answer. You do not have to set it up algebraically. That's the whole point of this process. The picking numbers part is where we have to kind of slow ourselves down and be careful, but then once we do, we can answer this question numerically without having to worry about what's going to happen with all these variables, and you'll see how that works here. So to answer the question, they want to know each person's share if X squared people rent the cabin. Well, let's take a look. If 100 people rent the cabin and the total is $200, then that means each person has to pay $2. So if you cram 100 people in there, sounds like it's going to be close quarters for your cabin trip, but it's only going to be $2 a person, and that's the answer that we're looking for. The answer that we're looking for to the question is 2. So we have to take a look here and see which of our answer choices will give us a value of 2 when we plug in the corresponding variables and the values that we picked in this first part of the process. So here's where we match. We go through each answer choice and find out what works. For the first one, A, X over Y will be 10 over 20, which reduces to 1/2. And that's not 2, so we can eliminate that one. We're looking for 2. 2 is our answer here. If we go through answer choice B, that would be 20 over 10, which is 2. Be careful not to bubble in too early. This certainly works, but depending on the set of numbers that we pick, it is possible more than one answer choice could work. So we still have to keep going until we make sure that only answer choice B works. So we'll certainly keep B on the table for this. Put a little check mark by that one. But let's go through and try the others. Here, 10 times 20, that's 200, which is definitely not 2. This would be 20 squared, which is 400, again, definitely not 2. And this would be the square root of 20, which reduces to 2 times root 5, which would be probably somewhere around 2 times 2 point something would be close to 5, but definitely not 2. So we are left with answer choice B as the correct answer for this question. So again, remember the process, pick, answer, match. If you use PAM on questions where you have variables in the answer choices, then you're likely to do better on those questions without having to worry about setting it up algebraically. For more, please feel free to check out our other videos, and thanks for watching.